My story began in 2014. That's me sitting on the moon, Pamela Murray. I wanted to see more of the world. So I left behind Cape Town, South Africa, and came to Beijing, China, to teach drama and to learn more about my passion, shadow puppetry. The one thing that drew me to it was the fact that it's got a cultural rooting, seeing stories being told out of light and shadow. I came to China because there was a job opening as a drama teacher in Beijing. My boyfriend Claudio Robuzzi is also South African, and he joined me 7 months after I had been here. I had initially wanted to stay in Cape Town, but my interest for Chinese shadow puppetry came up. I was like, well, it is China, and there is this amazing art form there that is very rare nowadays. You know, I thought I have to go and get a little bit closer to it. Most of the income I have is through workshops, and it's a freelance base. You know, however much work I put into it is how much money I get out of it. The most interesting thing about shadow puppetry is the fact that it's a visual art, but it's a storytelling art as well. It carries stories from histories, so it's amazing to dig up and explore because you'll end up learning more than just putting up a mirror to yourself. So that's your door. You know, you open it and then behind there we'll have the prize. It looks a bit circusy. Currently I'm trying to study as much as I can in Chinese shadow art, and most of it is done through fieldwork or experiential learning, I guess. Like when I went down to Hunan, I learned a lot spending just 5 days with the puppet master, with Wu Shengping. I learned about the history, I learned about the politics, I learned about the craft, I learned about the stories, about his family, about his life. That's just one person, and I think every shadow puppet family or every shadow puppet maker you'll learn new things from. So yeah, I think the more I get experience, or the more I watch, or the more I interact with, then the more I'll be able to learn. So this is Rafia. She is a friend of mine from Beijing. This is our second troupe that we are going to go meet in just outside of Tianjin. The last time I was in this environment was a few weeks ago in Hunan, and it's great to be back in this kind of atmosphere. Raphael and I have arrived at Jixian. We've had lunch and we've watched a short performance and been given a short tour explanation of some of the puppets, seen some of the instruments. Coming up so slow. And it's a really good experience when you see a craft or an art form that is enjoyed so fully. Now we are with the elder brother, and he's going to show us with cowhide
how to cut from the templates over here.
你看，然后我用刀。
This step is called 落样子. It means following the pattern and the template.
我叫周永良，是天津市蓟县许家台乡许家台村人。平现状，我说句良心话，挺乱，也需要政府部门的一些支持，多给一些关怀，这个培养才能更好的生存、保护、延续。
Do you prepare for its death? You know, do you prepare for its death before it's even died? Do you make sure it's in all the museums? Do you make sure it's documented? Do you make sure you take photographs of every material you used? You get all of the puppet masters' names, where they lived, when they were born? Do you get all of that information and put it in a museum, or do you interact with it and let it grow and let it influence you and let it influence other people and expose other people to it?
相当不错。
You're really good at it.
He's a good teacher.
很不错，很好很好。 送给你了，啊，送给你了啊。不客气不客气，留个纪念，不用客气。
Strange thing about being in China is trying to figure out how you're going to relay all of these experiences, all of these things that you see, smell, taste, back to anybody back home, and how that affects you. And it's great having somebody here who you can share that with.
Good.
So Pam first came to China beginning of last year, and I decided not to join her because I just didn't feel like it was the right time. I had a really good job. Everything was just kind of going really well, and I wasn't particularly interested in China in general. But then I thought that was not really a good way to think about things, and a job's a job, but this is only one Pam, so I wanted to follow her. Don't regret it at all. It's one of the best decisions I've ever made. And then came across bamboo bicycles, and that was just the best thing that I could have done.
Claudio's been working here for 6 months. He's mainly focuses on the building during the week, because during the weekends they have people come over and do the workshops. And then during the week, in the mornings, he will put together all the bikes, all the details.
So I thought I'd make this for Pam and give it to her for Christmas. Made it nice and small, gave her some of these handlebars so you sit upright and it's really fun.
Yeah, I had one request. I didn't want to ride like this. So
it's more like this.
With a big fat
With a
seat.
big fat comfy seat, yeah. Okay, should we go?
It took a few weeks for the relationship to find its feet in China, but we had patience and we had time, and it worked out for the best.
We are Seed. Yeah, this is our first song. It's called Galaxy.
In South Africa, Claudio was part of a band called Seed. This was one of the things that Claudio had to decide. You know, if he comes over to China, then this is the end of Seed. Because Seed was basically him and Leanne. Leanne's father is a pilot. He had his last flight to Hong Kong. So she came with to Hong Kong, and Claudio said, well, you're in Hong Kong, come up and visit. Let's do at least a gig. That wasn't enough. And it was like, okay, let's make this even more, put on even more pressure. You know, I was listening to the music and I realized that this is basically the type of music that is perfect for making shadow puppetry for. These type of events or stage performance events, what I really enjoy is getting the connection with the audience, connecting with strangers, and also creating magic. In the future, I see it as something that will go with me. I don't see myself running around with a banner saying invest in in Chinese shadow puppetry, but it will be something that I will carry with me, and I think I will use in all of the work that I do. It will influence me, and it will be a story that I will tell anybody who's interested in listening